Welcome to Benchmarking and Beyond, what you need to know to comply and unlock value. And this is brought to you by Community Preservation Corporation, or CPC, and Bright Power. I wanted to give you an introduction to the folks you'll be hearing from today. You will meet Danielle Donnelly from Community Preservation Corporation, myself, Betsy Harbison from Bright Power, and my colleague, Stephen Walsh. Before we dive into it, I wanted to give you a quick overview of what we will be covering today. Danielle and I will give you a brief introduction to CPC and Bright Power. I'll then share an overview of what benchmarking is and why you should care. Stephen will then review the upcoming compliance deadlines, and he will also share how Bright Power tracks and submits benchmarking data in our Energy Scorecards platform. Fear not, we will have ample time for you all to ask any and all benchmarking and compliance questions. We dedicated a fair amount of time for that. So please be sure as you have questions throughout the presentation to submit them via the chat feature. And if you could just direct those to all hosts, that would be great. All right, I'm gonna hand it over to Danielle.
Hi, everybody. So I'm Danielle. I work with CPC. CPC is a nonprofit affordable housing lender that's been serving communities in New York since 1974. Over the last 10 years, CPC has made a commitment to incorporating sustainability into our lending practices as a way to improve the built environment, ensure comfort and health of the tenants we service, and also preserve affordability across the market. So working with Bright Power, we've developed the Benchmarking Plus program. And that makes sustainability more accessible, combining an easy online tracking system, so that's Bright Power's Energy Scorecards, and one-on-one technical assistance from Bright Power, as well as access to an energy analyst to identify areas of potential improvement in either building operations or prioritizing portfolio investments. So we're able to provide an easy way for the borrowers to stay ahead of the curve and in compliance with local sustainability laws.
Thanks, Danielle. So to give you an introduction to Bright Power, we are a partner of CPC through the Benchmarking Plus program, as Danielle mentioned, but we've also collaborated on other initiatives and reports like underwriting efficiency, and there's more to come, so stay tuned. But before we dive into benchmarking, let me share a bit about Bright Power. We were founded 14 years ago in an effort to help multifamily building owners and operators by developing and implementing energy and water initiatives that will save them time and money. We're headquartered here in New York and are enjoying this first real day of winter. Great, so how do we do all of that? We use a find, fix, follow approach to strategically and proactively identify problems, implement solutions, and then monitor their success. We'll find areas of energy and water waste using utility bill analytics and, you guessed it, compliance benchmarking. We fix buildings to perform optimally through turnkey design build retrofits. But then we also follow the data to ensure that every project achieves its goals, allowing you to then replicate the solution portfolio-wide. So you can see we offer many solutions, including the implementation of energy and water improvement projects. But today, we're all here for benchmarking. So as Danielle mentioned, we use Energy Scorecards through the Benchmarking Plus program. And this program does use Energy Scorecards as the easy-to-use online tracking system and our one-on-one technical support. But it also includes access to an energy analyst, and in CPC's case, that is my colleague Stephen Walsh, who you will hear from in a bit. He helps building owners identify areas of potential improvements in building operations, and then will help prioritize any sort of investment afterwards. Energy Scorecards not only allows us to manage and submit energy benchmarking data, but we can also then track, measure, and monitor savings after those improvement projects are completed to ensure that every project is completed with actual savings in mind and not just budget and schedule, which is really the kind of X factor to add to benchmarking. So more on energy scorecards later. Now for the real reason why we are all here, benchmarking. So what is benchmarking? Energy benchmarking provides key insights on how a building is performing at a specific point in time, but it also shows how its performance compares to historical data. You can't change what you don't know, and energy benchmarking gives building owners that knowledge so they can keep making their buildings better and their residents happy. The goal of benchmarking is not to bog down owners with paperwork. Rather, the goal is to provide insight and action, not just data collection. We've seen building owners across the country turn compliance obligations into a strategic tool. How, you ask? When you pair benchmarking with the Benchmarking Plus program or a service like Energy Scorecards. Benchmarking then will unlock areas of opportunity for efficiency optimization and savings, and benchmarking sheds light on how a building's performance compares to similar buildings in that same region. So once you've identified those areas of opportunity, you can then work with a partner like us to prioritize energy and water improvements based on those looming compliance obligations and deadlines, incentive program eligibility, and of course, budget. Then a good partner will measure and monitor those savings after improvement projects are completed. I'm going to now hand it over to Stephen, and he will demystify those looming compliance deadlines.
Thanks, Betsy. Now that everyone understands the meaning and intent behind the benchmarking compliance, these deadlines should hold a little bit more meaning. The first compliance laws that we'll cover are Local Law 84-133, which is going to apply to buildings that are above 50,000 square feet and between 25,000 and 50,000 square feet. For those of you who are already enrolled in the Benchmarking Plus program or who use Energy Scorecards with Bright Power, you can rest easy. We already have you covered. For those of you who are not enrolled in the Benchmarking Plus program or who do not use Energy Scorecards, please pay close attention. The first date that we're going to cover is December 10th, 2018, and this is the recommended date that you want to request 2017 energy use data and to share your properties with the DEP. We recommend beginning to enter 2017 energy and water usage data into Energy Star Portfolio Manager by December 15th, 2018. The last day to submit 2017 data for buildings greater than 50,000 square feet without first penalty is December 31st, 2018. The last day to submit 2017 data for buildings 25,000 square feet to 50,000 square feet without first penalty is February 1st, 2019. February 1st, 2019 is also the deadline to submit 2017 data for buildings greater than 50,000 square feet without an additional penalty. For New York City Department of Housing Preservation and Development, or HPD, and New York City Department of Housing Development Corporation, or HDC, you must submit 2017 data by December 31st, 2018 for any project that received funding from either entity and is located in the 5 boroughs. Outside of Local Law 84-133, HPD, and HDC, New York State Homes and Community Renewal, also known as HCR, has their own compliance reporting for any project that received funding from HCR or any Mitchell-Lama property with an HID number. The deadline was October 31st, 2018 to submit intake forms, and you must submit 2017 data by December 31st, 2018. New York State Housing Finance Agency, also known as HFA, has their own compliance reporting for any project that received funding from HFA after January 1st, and is now completed and occupied. Similar to HCR, the deadline was October 31st, 2018 to submit intake forms, and you must submit 2017 data by December 31st, 2018. And just to put it on your radar, all of these deadlines will be changing in 2019 for the collection of 2018 data. Some of you may know HVD's deadline is May 1st. That'll resume in 2019 for the submission of 2018 data. But don't worry, because CPC and Bright Power will remind you. A deadline that is not changing, however, is Local Law 87. You may know this as the Audit and Retro Commissioning Law. This law is only going to be impacting buildings that are greater than 50,000 square feet. To find out if you need to comply, first check to see if your building is on the covered buildings list. We will include that link in the slides when we share those after the webinar. The year you must comply with Local Law 87 and submit your Energy Efficiency Report, or EER, to the city is determined by the last digit of your tax block number. For example, a property with a tax block number of 0 is due to file their EER by December 31st, 2020. Now for some more information about energy scorecards. The property scorecard is a snapshot in time of how efficiently your property is using energy and water. We have a grading system that breaks down performance into grades, a bit different than what's in school. Here, a D can mean that there are many opportunities for you to reduce energy or water waste. Grades are not dependent on spend alone, but rather how efficiently a property is using that type of energy. We use peer groups that compares buildings of similar region, vintage, type, construction, and metering. This allows us to compare true peers as opposed to buildings that simply look the same. For example, a mid-rise building in an outer borough of New York is different from a mid-rise building in upstate New York. And we use weather normalized data. That means that we can take weather variation or anomalies out of the equation. This allows us to really pinpoint changes in resident behavior and equipment performance. One of the benefits of benchmarking with Bright Power and CPC is that you're able to track your property's performance on a year-to-year basis. This helps you locate the specific areas in your building that have seen improvements, as well as potential areas of opportunity for savings in future years.
Thanks, Stephen. Now it is time for you all to submit your questions. Be sure to send them via the chat feature, and please send them to all hosts. Okie dokie. First question we had, which I did anticipate, was what exactly is the rate to enroll in the Benchmarking Plus program? So you can see, as Elizabeth had mentioned in an earlier email, that there is a deeply discounted rate of $400 per multifamily building plus a one-time $200 setup fee. And any partner of CPC is eligible. So that means you don't necessarily have to have a CPC loan. And if you have questions on, if you specifically are eligible, we are more than happy to investigate that for you. Okay, another question about the Benchmarking Plus program and energy scorecards. How quickly can you get set up in either of those, and when do I need to enroll? That's a great question. With all of these deadlines coming up, I would say the sooner the better. But we want to make sure that you are in full compliance. So to make you rest easy, I would recommend enrolling in the Benchmarking Plus program by December 1st. And we'll have contact information for you to reach out and get yourself set up as soon as possible. Okay. All right, another question. How do I know if I need to submit data to HCR? Another great question. So you should have received notice from your loan servicer, but if you have not and you've received funds from HCR, or you have a Mitchell-Lama property with an HID number, it's safe to say you should submit to HCR. And again, if you have additional questions about that, we'll shoot our contact information up, so you'll be able to ask that offline. Looks like the same question about HPD. How do I know that I need to comply there? Same thing. You should have received notice. However, it's safe to say that if you receive funds from HPD, you do need to submit benchmarking data. So you might want to check in with a project manager over there just to double check. Okay. We didn't mention local law 88. What's the deal with that? Great question. Lots of good questions, guys. So local law 88 requires multifamily property owners to upgrade their common area lighting. And that's for buildings that are larger than 25,000 square feet. But good news, you have time to comply, and you just have to upgrade that lighting by 2025. So rest easy, you can put that on the back burner, at least for this week. Any other questions? Wow, all right, looks like that's all on the question front. Of course, if you have any more, you can send them into info@brightpower.com. We will be sharing the slides and recording later today, so you can reference that, and please feel free to share the recording and forward that email along to anyone who you know has compliance and benchmarking questions. We are always here to be a resource for you, as is CPC, and we're really thankful you were able to join us today. Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of your day and happy Thanksgiving.